On Dax Shepard's podcast, Jonathan Van Ness becomes emotional in support of trans rights. The newest guest on Dax Shepard's Armchair Expert podcast is Jonathan Van Ness, and things got difficult when Dax inquired as to whether or not the New York Times would be seen as a liberal-leaning institution. Jonathan objected and mentioned that the New York Times has published anti-trans stuff over the years. Jonathan is non-binary and uses they, them pronouns. When the journal questions certain themes, such young people taking puberty blockers during their transitions, Dax called the publication difficult, which sparked a heated exchange. This whole idea of criticizing anything or simply questioning it turns you into an adversary. Before Jonathan remarked that they felt like they were talking to their dad, Dax replied, "I don't think that's the way forward." JVN stated, "All I'm saying is that from what we know about misinformation and disinformation, there's a good chance that you're being exposed to misinformation and disinformation when you have an outsized reaction to something. And there is a lot of misinformation and disinformation in a lot of the rhetoric around the anti-trans backlash." They said, "I'm not calling you a transphobe. You cannot be transphobic and still hold beliefs and ideologies that support transphobia and misogyny." The discussion, which lasted for more than 20 minutes, grew to include issues related to transgender children and athletes being denied opportunities in sports for bogus reasons. Jonathan expressed the hope that they will discuss their own podcast, Getting Curious, with Dax. The host of Armchair Expert expressed regret for the digression and claimed that he did not intend to spark a contentious argument. Dax assured Jonathan, "I didn't want it at all. I cherish you, I find you to be hilarious and talented, and I adore the fact that you're an activist." The Queer Eye star started to cry as they described how important trans rights are to them. Jonathan said, "I could just cry because I'm so tired of fighting for little kids because they just want to be included. I wish people cared as deeply about young children's ability to develop or be included as they did about fictional women's justice in sports. I must admit that I am quite exhausted."